Terribly sorry.
What's the hurry? Got a case somewhere?
That'll be the day. Careless driving costs lives, you know.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
These little jobs need controlling in traffic, miss.
Has it occurred to you that you swerved right in front of me?
In law, you're in the wrong, you know.
What?
Article 28 of the Traffic Act states quite clearly in subsection 902 that as you are in flagrante delictu on the footpath, you're guilty of trespass as a result of your negligence. I happen to know a little about the law.
Let's call a policeman and let him decide. They happen to know a little about the law, too.
Very little. But I haven't got time right now to show them where their duty lies. I have a most important case in the High Court, and I'm late now.
Really?
Yes. The Attorney General himself insisted that I'd take the case. Well, here's my name and address. Now, if you'll excuse me, miss.
Excuse me, miss. Do you know there's a no parking street? On or off the pavement?
I'm sorry, officer. I'm just going.
Then you remember in future, miss, won't you?
Yes, I will.
Just a minute.
Sorry.
Morning, Simon. Working?
Divorce. Dallas ditch water. Didn't even clock a one. Still, it's money.
Money? Never heard of it. Morning, Gloria. Any rude men ringing up today?
No such luck, Mr. Stevens.
Ah, you're not forward enough.
My mum says I'm too forward by half.
I see what your mum means. Morning, George.
Morning, Mr. Stevens. How did it go?
Oh, a dock brief, George. 2 guineas, 12 months. Anything fresh in for me this morning?
Yes. Nice little sewage brief here. River pollution. It's marked at 5 guineas.
What's the matter with me, George? Sewage poisoning fish, smoke polluting the atmosphere, I don't know.
Now, Mr. Stevens. Even Sir John had to work his way through drains and sewers before he got the plums. Plenty of pickings in drains and sewers.
Yes, I know, but where are all the lovely breaches of promise, the indecent exposures, luscious divorce cases at 200 guineas a go? And don't tell me they're not all still at it, George, because they jolly well are. Why don't they come my way? Oh, Lord, it's all over my wig.
It's only a bar of chocolate.
Only that happens to be my lunch. Oh, my glasses, too.
But you don't wear glasses, do you?
Oh, they impress the judges, George. Give confidence to the clients. How say you, my George?
I'd say if they impress the clients with you behind them, then they're worth their weight in gold.
Hey, what are you moving my stuff for?
The new junior's coming in today, Mr. Stevens.
You junior? Oh, nobody told me. Why does he have to have my desk?
It's a young lady, Sir John's niece.
Oh, a girl. Well, that doesn't make any difference. She can't have my desk. Put her over here.
Hello. You're new, aren't you? Big improvement. Who sent you those?
Oh, they're not for me. I never get roses. All I ever got was forget-me-nots once.
Who from?
Forget.
Hello.
What are you doing here? Don't solicitors ever work?
I'm working. I've been distributing a few briefs
Oh, well, that's different. Come on.
for the next door chambers.
You're useless, Hubert. Why don't you ever distribute me a brief?
Oh, friends. Wouldn't be ethical. Besides, it's a bit above your station.
Cheek.
That's a new girl at the switchboard, isn't it?
Hmm?
I said that's a new girl at the switchboard.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't got time to go leering at the telephonists.
You're missing something. Hello. I suppose putting in and pulling out those plugs all day would develop one.
You're sick.
I thought this was your desk.
Yes, it was.
Surely you'd be better off with something edible, like a bouquet of celery.
And we've got a new junior coming here, a girl. So I have to have this old desk in the draft.
A girl. My favorite style of interior decoration.
Don't be so damn stupid, Hubert. What am I supposed to do with a girl in here?
For the usual fee, I could tell you.
She's old Bloodhound's niece.
Oh.
Worked her way in through the family connection, I suppose.
You know, I like girl barristers. They're so beguiling in court. They get overexcited and their wigs develop a life of their own.
They're no good, Hubert. This one will never get into court. She'll be here all the time, spying on me, sending me out of the room every time she wants to change her thick woolen stockings, and sitting in the only comfortable chair.
Well, you can give her that one.
I'd like to. It's got a ruddy great nail in it.
Or maybe she's well padded and won't notice.
I don't really mind which chair I have. I'm Frances Pilbright. I think we've met.
I'm Hubert Shannon. I'm a friend of Tony's. We share a flat. Oh, do let me take your things.
Thank you very much. Do you work in these chambers too?
No. I'm a solicitor. We must see if we can't find you a brief or two.
Do you mind?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Now then, do sit down. Yes. Do you like a cushion?
No, thank you. I don't need one.
You don't? Oh, that's nice to know.
What time would you like me back, madam?
Oh, pick me up here at about tea time, will you, Harry?
Thank you, madam.
What a sight. Will you take me to Camberwell, please? I'll tell you when to stop.
OK, now, sure you got the fare? Long way, you know.
Aye, I think you can just about manage.
OK, hop in.
Cheeky. Hello, Sid.
Who are you?
It's me, Gladys. Come on.
I don't know you.
Oh, Sid.
You come out to the wrong place. Now up it, as the monkey said to the kangaroo.
You haven't changed, Sid. Always joking.
Now, my good woman, you can't come in here.
Well, why not, Sid? I'm your wife.
Wife? I'm not married, I'm a spinster. I never seen you before.
Don't you remember me? I know it's been a long time.
All right, come on, beat it, as the monkey said to the egg whisk.
As the monkey said to the egg whisk. Oh, Sid, that's one of your best. Who's this?
Search me, pearly girl. Some alarming creature that thinks this is a marriage bureau. Come here for husband or something, she has.
Oh, Sid. A woman.
Oh, is that what it is? Go on out of here, will you? You're nuts.
Yeah, monkey nuts.
Never mind, Sid. I forgive you.
Forgive him. Stop drivelling your old ragbag and fiddle off.
Here.
Ah, Frances, my dear. Welcome. They've made you comfortable, I see. You've met Tony Stevens.
Yes, I have.
Oh, hello, Shannon.
Morning, Sir John.
Oh, I was going to telephone your office. This case they've sent me for tomorrow, this disorderly house, girls dancing in the hall together. The papers are quite inadequate. I want more details, evidence, photographs.
Photographs? Yes, Sir John, I'll see to that.
Yes. Well, you must excuse me, dear. I have a client in my room. Oh, Tony, I shall want you in court for that case. You might study the details, will you?
Yes, I will, Sir John.
Yes, I meant the details of the case, not my niece's statistics.
Yes, of course, Sir John.
All through here, Shannon?
Oh, yes, Sir John, just leave it.
So I'll see you later, dear. I won't be long.
About our meeting this morning in front of the law courts, I might have been slightly wrong about the law.
You were wrong and you know it.
Well,
But one barrister can't sue another. I mean, that wouldn't be camaraderie, would it?
thank you. Well, may I say how delighted I am to welcome you to these chambers. Anything you'd like to know, just ask me. Of course, I'm pretty busy at the moment, but...
Yes, fighting cases for the Attorney General.
Well, perhaps I did exaggerate slightly.
What do you specialize in?
Sewers. Oh, public health, you know, big stuff. Well, I don't suppose you'll be getting any briefs for a bit, but you could always help me if you like.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to.
Were you looking for something then?
I was looking for the owner, actually.
Oh, Mr. Victor. Oh, he'll be in his office. I'll show you.
Thanks.
Well, there you are, Mr. Shannon. Now, what was wrong with that?
Nothing at all, as far as I could see, and I can see pretty far.
Oh, it's a lovely number. Artistic. It's the most artistic number in the show, I always say.
Oh, thanks, love. Of course, I should have had my python.
Your which?
A snake. In the show, she does it with a snake. It twirls all round her like knitting. Oh, it's lovely.
I expect you could imagine it.
Yes, I thought something was missing, but I filled in the gaps.
Yes, well, we can't have a snake in here. It's against regulations. We got to watch them. You see, we're very strict here in this club, Mr. Shannon.
Tell me, what do you feed it on?
Oh, anything that's going, really. It's not choosy, but it does like salt beef sandwiches with a little bit of mustard.
She's known as Princess Kamula, you know.
The python?
No, Golly.
Golly.
I'm Gail Tornado.
Oh, that is a very beautiful name.
Well, it's a bit more classy than Beryl Huggins, isn't it?
Well, everything's classy here.
Well.
And in good taste, too. And now, if you've seen everything you want to see, the girls have got to get back to work.
Well,
I'm only sorry that I couldn't get my tassels really going for you, but I have to be very careful with the bric-a-brac.
Well, actually, Sir John wanted some photographs.
Oh, certainly, by all means.
Did you get your tassel back, dear? Last house, one of her tassels came to pieces, right in one of the customers' hands.
It was a very unpleasant experience, I can assure you. You know, they don't make things to last these days, do they?
Hello, Sam. Bring your camera up here. I want you to take some photographs. Come.
Do you want me?
Oh, yes, darling. This gentleman is a lawyer. Run through your routine for him, there's a love.
What, here?
Well, yes. He wants an uninterrupted view.
Shall I get my props? She does all sorts of things with a vacuum cleaner, you see.
Well, mime them, darling, mime them.
Oh, well, all right. But it won't be the same. Oh, don't worry, love. We'll give you the beat. Ah, right. Okay?
Yeah.
And la 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 la. Hey! Oh, for the wings, of a dove. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Far away. When I roam. Cha-cha-cha. Oh, for the wings, of a dove.
As I went down the road to Strathroy, I saw an old petticoat hanging to dry. So I whipped off me breeches and hung 'em on high, just to keep this...
Oh, not so much noise, please.
So you're up at last, are you? Want some breakfast?
That's a leading question. And in my condition, I can tell you exactly where it'd lead. I don't know who it was who said, what goes up must come down, but they had it the wrong way round.
Charming. What were you up to last night?
The witness's memory is rather hazy, but I seem to recollect a young lady with a vacuum cleaner.
Cleaning you out, no doubt.
I don't recall. Why the laundry work?
I'm in court with old Bloodhound this morning.
Ah, that's it, I remember. I've got some evidence for him. Photographs. I'll give them to you just as soon as this little chap in my head stops his drums, sir. How curious to use your wig instead of toast.
What are you on about?
Eclipse bread with marmalade.
Oh, hell! How am I going to get that off?
Well, you could wear it in the Turkish bath this afternoon if you'd care to join me.
Can't afford to, old chap. Can barely afford to pay for the gas for a wash down in a cup of water once a week.
Could you be a good chap and very quietly dial 999?
Oh, come up with you, but you're not that ill. You don't need an ambulance.
No, but by the time they get here, we probably both will. The flat's on fire.
Now remember, old Haddon's a tricky character. Never met a judge like him. Doesn't like juniors anyway, so just keep still and hand the books to me when I ask. Why the hell have you got brown paper around your neck?
Oh, I had a slight accident, sir.
Don't change them.
I'm afraid I haven't got any other ones, sir.
The case is called, Sir John.
Oh, well, come on. Try and keep them covered up.
Yes, sir. I got that extra evidence you wanted from Hubert Shannon, the photograph, sir.
Why the hell didn't you say so? Where are they?
Here, sir.
Yes, I'll have him in the dock for this.
You should come now, Sir John.
It was then that the lights came up, revealing a scantily clad lady artiste.
Oh, I can't see a thing up there. I'm coming down here with you.
Yes, you sit there, love.
A vacuum cleaner.
But tell me, what exactly was this young woman doing with the vacuum cleaner?
Well, she sort of had it over here, you see, and then sort of brought it round the front, and, well, very difficult to describe exactly.
Oh, come. You must remember, surely. How many times did you visit the club?
11 times.
It seems surprising that you should have found it necessary to go there so often.
The acts vary from night to night, my lord.
It's a lie. We always stick to the script. We never change our acts.
We're ever so strict.
Silence in court.
Now, officer, I am going to read a written statement that was handed to the police by my client.
Terribly sorry.
Sir John, I've been observing your learned colleague for some time. May I ask if he's suffering from tonsillitis or toying with the idea of suicide by single-handed self-strangulation?
I do apologize, my lord. I have a slight quinsy.
I'm sure the court sympathizes with you. Nevertheless, I do not wish my attention to be distracted in any way. Proceed, Sir John.
My client states, I have always conducted a perfectly respectable club, and such entertainment as I provide for my members has always been of the highest artistic standard and in perfect taste. Would you agree with that statement?
The premises are well conducted, certainly.
And the entertainment?
There was a dance which achieved its effect by manipulation by the artiste of certain silken cords knotted together and affixed to certain portions of the anatomy.
Oh, a tassel dance?
Yes, my lord.
Then why not say so? I do wish things to be called by their proper names. Anyway, I fail to appreciate why a dance with a tassel, or indeed several tassels, should constitute per se. Sir John, it appears that your junior counsel is endeavoring to demonstrate to the court quite a different kind of dance, possibly St. Vitus's, and obviously of his own choreography. Is this wise?
My lad, I do apologize, but...
Sir John, I really cannot have this court turned into a ballet school, and I must ask you to restrict your terpsichorean activities, whether with tassel, vacuum cleaner, or any other object to your leisure hours.
I beg your pardon, your lordship, but out!
Sir John, I really must have some order in this court. Will you please remain seated until you have yourself under control?
I must apologize, your lordship, but I have been stung by a wasp.
I'm so sorry. Would you care for me to adjourn until your wounds are dressed?
No, my lad, it's nothing.
I'm delighted to hear it. In that case, we may proceed.
Now, officer, I would like you to answer this question.
have one.
Oh, thanks. I'm on a diet, you know.
Well, you don't need to diet, though, do you?
Well, it's these sweaters, you see. I read in the paper, coming out's going out. You get it in a packet from the chemist. It's a sort of powder, really. It's got all the vitamins and things. You just mix it with water and drink it twice a day. You lose pounds.
When do you take it?
Oh, in between my ordinary meals.
Oh, hello, George. Have a chocolate.
No, thank you. I've got to watch my weight.
I suppose there's nothing in the mail for me. I sort of saw the briefs come tumbling in.
Perhaps you ought to look on your desk.
What? Putney v. Putney, restitution of conjugal rights, solicitors Sutcliffe and Sutcliffe. Oh, how sweet of him. Mr. Sutcliffe's my godfather.
Yes, I gather from the clerk there was a connection.
I can't take it, can I? I mean, it isn't ethical, is it?
It's 25 guineas.
25? Oh, how wonderful.
Anything in, George?
Yes, Mr. Stevens, a very nice little case. On your desk.
How much?
3 guineas.
3 guineas, yes. Super tax, here I come. What is it, George? No. Don't tell me. I know.
Yes, Sifton Sewage Authority. A very nice little brief.
I am a sewer.
You're what?
I am a sewer, a drain. My filter bed is defective. My sprinklers are all bunged up. I ooze. In fact, I leak like a sieve. Now, what is my defense?
Your defense?
Yes, am I liable for leaking like a sieve? You laughing at me? Now, listen, if you're going to work with me, you're going to have to take everything a lot more seriously. A lot of judges started in sewers and drains, you know.
Have a chocolate.
Yes, thank you. What is that?
A brief.
You have got a brief? How much?
25.
20? Who from?
Sutcliffe and Sutcliffe.
You wouldn't happen to know them, I suppose.
He's my godfather.
Yes, it's nepotism, that's what it is.
Look, it's not my fault that I was born into a legal family.
No wonder you sniffed at my drains.
Oh, look, I'd love to help you with your drains, really, I would.
I'm perfectly capable of dealing with my own drains, thank you very much. I've been through half the drains in England in the last 2 years. Now, let's have a look at this. I am Gladys Rose Pudney. I am a middle-aged woman. I get married. I get bombed. I lose my memory and forget about my husband. I get my memory back and remember about my husband. I find my husband. I can't get him back. I sound like a dope.
She sounds like a very hard done by woman.
Well, it's a comfort to know there's at least one woman in the world who's hard done by.
Look, I didn't ask for that.
Oh, go ahead. Doesn't matter to me. I expect the judge will turn out to be your mother-in-law.
George tells me that Peter Sutcliffe has found a brief for you, my dear.
Yes.
Excellent. You're very fortunate in having a solicitor in the family, as it were. Yes, I could only wish that more members of these chambers could impress solicitors so strongly. A throat lozenge for your quinsy, I take it.
What? No. Sir John.
Thank you.
I feel no help. Steady.
Yes. Naughty. Well, I must have a brief, Hubert. That girl with her 25 guineas, she's going to come it over me like nobody's business. My position's impossible.
Well, you better go out and get yourself a godfather.
I have 2. One's dead, the other's a dentist in New South Wales.
Well, that's it.
Thank you.
Well, damn it, Hubert, you've got tons of briefs in there. Why can't I have one? And I don't mean a drain or drunk and disorderly.
I might have a malicious trespass.
I'm sorry, old man, but I saw it there and the temptation was too strong.
You'll be locked up one of these days if you go on like that. Now put it back. There's a good chap and go to sleep.
I must have it, Hubert.
Oh, let him have it. Then we can all go to sleep.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, could I borrow that when you're finished with it?
Oh, yes, yes, of course.
Thank you very much. There's one or two references I want to check.
You've got a brief?
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad. Public health?
No, rather an interesting case, actually. Restitution of conjugal rights. I'm briefed for the defense at 25 guineas.
Oh, marvelous. What is it?
Pudney versus Pudney.
Oh, I'm delighted for you. Pudney versus Pudney? But you can't do that.
Why not?
Well, I'm prosecuting and we're both in the same chambers.
It's unusual, but happens.
You got that brief on purpose.
Came my way and I took it. After all, it's no crime to have friends in the legal profession, is it? Of course, you could object if you're scared.
Why should I be scared? I shall win. Mrs. Pudney's story is obviously the truth.
Quite probably. But that doesn't come into it, does it? My client is innocent until he's proved guilty. As his counsel, I accept his story, and I shall present it with all the skill at my command.
But you can't present what's obviously a pack of lies as the truth.
Oh, my dear young woman, you know very little about the law.
Our job is to see the truth prevails and that justice is done. You can't defend him.
Well, I can't prosecute him, can I? Because you got there first.
Your conscience.
When my conscience sniffs 25 guineas, it goes out like a light. Thank you.
Mrs. Pudney, I gather that you haven't got a copy of the marriage certificate.
No, love. Sid kept that. He put it straight into his pocket. That's where that's going, he said, right next to my art. Lovely way of putting things he has.
And the registrar's original was destroyed before it could be sent to the records office.
That's right, love. In the Blitz. That very night. Dreadful, wasn't it?
And 6 months later, you were caught in the Blitz, lost your memory, and were evacuated up north.
That's right. You know, you do look young, love, to be doing your job. All those murderers and people.
Well, I've not done any criminal work. Well, in fact, I think it's only fair to tell you that this is my very first case.
Oh, well, never mind, love.
Of course, I got the gift of the gab myself, but he said I got to hire one of you lot. Here, he looks a bit juvenile, doesn't he? Couldn't you got me a bit of mouthpiece on him? No offence, my good man, but when I'm doing the paying, I like to make quite sure that I'm getting me money's worth.
Mr. Stevens is one of our most successful advocates. He's constantly being employed by various authorities.
What work?
Well, sort of...
surplus material.
Oh, the old war surplus racket. Yeah. I did a bit of that myself. I used to sell war surplus before the war. Coppers never found out, though. They were too busy giving parking tickets to people who obstructed me shop.
Mr. Pudney, Mrs. Pudney states that you have the marriage certificate.
Now, come, my good man. How could there be a flipping marriage certificate when there wasn't a flipping marriage?
True.
Yeah.
Now, there were witnesses at the wedding.
Oh, yes. 2 sailor boys on leave. Sid pulled them in off the street. He wanted it done all quiet-like.
Well, now, can you remember their names?
Oh, yes.
But you told me that you'd forgotten them.
Eh? Oh, did I? Oh, well, one was tall and called Lofty, and the other was short and called Shorty. Sid gave them each 5 bob. I know, because I lent it to him.
Well, do you think that we could find them?
Half the women in the world are looking for sailors called Lofty or Shorty.
Mr. Pudney, I take it there's no risk of the other side producing any witnesses.
Oh, now, come. How could there be any flipping witnesses when there wasn't any flipping marriage?
Marriage, yes, quite.
You've got a lightning brain, haven't you? I tell you what, her whole story's as crooked as my income tax return. I don't know the old faggot, and I never have.
And why should she bring the case?
Search me, as the monkey said to his mate. Got a right lot here.
Do you mean to say that he didn't even buy your wedding ring?
No. But I had this old signet ring of my mother's. Sid said we'd use that. More personal. Very sentimental, Sid was.
Yeah. And if he was so sentimental, why didn't he look for you after the bomb fell? He seems to have made no attempt to find out whether you were alive or dead.
Oh, that wasn't Sid's fault. How could he? I'd lost my memory and was evacuated. And there's me sitting there all these years thinking I'm Gladys Worthing, spinster, and forgotten all about poor Sid.
Mrs. Pudney, I'm going to do everything that I can to get your Sid back for you.
Thank you.
Yeah? How's the reducing going?
It isn't going, it's still coming. My mum says it runs all through the family.
Well, that must be awkward for your brothers. Is Pilbright in? Good morning, Miss Pilbright.
Good morning.
What are you doing here?
I brought a brief.
Another one? That's friendly of you.
For Miss Pilbright. I thought you might like a little disorderly conduct. To cut your teeth on, so to speak. Of course, if you don't, the shop will change it.
Thank you very much, but I'm already working on a brief.
Oh, good work. What?
I think you know.
Extraordinary thing, isn't it? She's appearing for Mrs. Pudney.
She's what? When did you get it?
Before you briefed Mr. Stevens for the defense.
You're appearing against a member of your own chambers? You wangled that brief out of me when I had a hangover. It's not ethical.
Miss Pilbright doesn't object.
Miss Pilbright, I can only apologize profoundly and wish you every possible success.
You can't wish opposing counsel success. Whose side are you on?
I am not allowed to take sides. All I can say is may the best man win, even if she is a woman. Ah, Miss Pilbright. May I say how very fetching you look in your wig?
Thank you.
I'm the one you're supposed to be building up.
If I told you look fetching in your wig, we'd probably both end up in the dock. Besides, you don't. It's still got the remains of the marmalade in it.
While I'm battling to win your case for you, I suppose you'll be sitting there lusting after the opposing counsel.
Yeah, this lot could do with a drop of paint, if you ask me. Liven it up a bit. Not much of a turnout, is it?
No. I said old Buzzard what time the next programme starts.
Oi! What's cooking, as the monkey said to the cannibal chief?
Oh, Sid, that's rich.
Rich? What about the cannibal witch doctor who misbehaved and got struck off the menu?
What, may I ask, is that?
Your client's girlfriend, I suppose.
Yeah, there's our legal eagles over there. Come on, Duck.
Get rid of her. If the judge sees her, we haven't got a chance.
Good morning, all. Oh, this is Miss Pearl Hoskins.
Mr. Pudney, why have you brought this lady?
Oh, I've just come along with a giggle.
This is a serious case, Miss Hoskins. It's not a giggle.
Listen to the Lord I Undertaker.
Miss Hoskins, I'd advise you...
All right, keep your wig on.
Keep your wig on. Oh, Sid, that's rich.
And dry up, you. Dry up, as the monkey said to the leaky tap. And don't laugh so loud, otherwise these gentlemen will think you're common.
Well, I can't help it. In here, scream. Always in demand, he is.
Never had a lesson in me life. Comes to me natural, sort of a gifted amateur, you know. Every line's a gag, every gag's a laugh. Here, what's the difference between a schoolmaster, a guard, and a pot of glue? Give up. A schoolmaster trains the mind, and a guard minds the train.
What about the pot of glue?
That's where you get stuck.
Excuse me. I'm looking for the lady.
The ladies, madam. Yes, you'll find one at the end of the corridor on the left.
The lady barrister.
Oh. What court, do you know?
5, I think.
Go down here and up the steps, and you'll get there.
Ta.
Now, you will be careful about leading questions, won't you? This judge is very hot on them. He won't have you putting words into a witness's mouth, you know?
Yes, I think so.
For example, you can't say, you murdered your wife last night, didn't you? You have to say, tell me, did anything unusual happen last night? And you hope for the answer, yes, as a matter of fact, I murdered my wife. And another thing, laughing at the judge's jokes.
Oh, I'm not to?
Well, sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But if he says to you, how say you, Miss Pilbright, then you laugh even if you haven't a clue.
Oh, Mrs. Pudney.
Oh, it's you, love. I didn't recognize you in that wig. Oh, I'm so nervous. I don't know I'm going to talk to that judge.
And what is first this morning?
A restitution of conjugal rights, Lord.
Any witnesses?
No, Lord.
That shouldn't take long. Wig!
Come on now, Duck, you up it over to the pub. This won't take long.
Oh, Sid, why?
Why? Well, because these gents think that if the beak gets an eye for Leo, he won't be able to keep his mind on his work.
Oh. Oh, well, that's different.
Go on then, up it. And don't get pickled, as a monkey said to the onion.
Oh, Sid! Oh, look, love, look. There's my Sid. Fancy him bringing that woman with him.
Well, who is she?
Pearly girl, he calls her. She was at the flat the day I called. Wearing a negligee she was. And drinking.
Well, why didn't you tell us?
Oh, I didn't like to. I had to think of Sid's good name.
But, Mrs. Putney, this makes all the difference to your case. Well, of course he didn't want to say that he knows you.
You better go in.
Hello, Sid.
Don't you Sid me, my good woman. I don't know you.
Oi! You don't happen to know where a lady could get a drink, do you, chum?
Yes, missus, a water fountain just down the corridor.
A water fountain? I said a drink, not a wash. Never mind. I'll find a pub myself. I don't suppose you care to come along and protect me, would you?
No, miss, I'm not allowed to leave my post.
Oh, well, just returning the offer. Last time, a policeman asked me to accompany him.
Silence! Be upstanding in court.
Now remember, he's deaf as a post, so I hope you're in good voice today.
Well, come along, come along.
Gladys Pudney and Sidney Pudney. Restitution of conjugal rights, may it please your lordship.
It doesn't please me at all. Get along with it. Who's opening?
Counsel for the petitioner, a Miss Pilbright.
I see. Miss Pilbright. Well, I know that the lady is counted a privilege to keep the gentleman waiting, but not in my court. Yes, Miss Pilbright?
Good luck. Give it to him loud and strong.
Miss Pilbright, do I hear you open your case?
May it please your lordship, in this case I represent the petitioner and my learned friend, Mr. Stevens.
Will you lower your voice, madam? Do you think I'm deaf?
Yes.
What gives you that impression?
I forgot to warn you, it's only in the one ear.
Well,
Although to a person of your tender years, Miss Pilbright, I must appear to be practically senile, I can assure you that I am in full possession of my faculties, including that of hearing in both ears, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, may I say how pleased I am to hear it, my lord?
I rather think we've met before, Mr. Stevens. I trust we're going to have no distractions caused by your jugular vein today. And now, after these pleasantries, we'll get to work. Your case, if you please, Miss Pilbright.
may it please your lordship, this is a case of a woman renounced by her lawful husband.
Restitution of how much?
Conjugal rights, I think they are. Don't drown it, dear.
What might they be when they're at home?
Well, it means that if the judge says so...
Doesn't sound nice to me.
And though we are short of material proof, I'm sure you'll be convinced of the justice of her position when you've heard the evidence of the heartbreaking indignities she's had to suffer at the hands of her husband.
Miss Pilbright, should you feel that you have sufficiently harrowed my feelings, possibly we might have some of this evidence on which you seem to pin such high hopes.
May it please your lordship, I call the petitioner. That's you, Mrs. Pudney.
Eh? Me? Where do I go?
This way, please, madam. Keep it up. It's in the bag.
He knew he wasn't deaf.
I must have mixed him up with another one. They all look alike.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give to this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
We are all waiting, Miss Pilbright. I am all attention, Miss Pilbright, but I had hoped for something more enlightening than and
You are Gladys Rose Pudney.
That's right, love.
May it please your lordship, but I fail to see how the petitioner can be Mrs. Pudney until it is proved that she ever married Mr. Pudney.
I take your point, Mr. Stevens.
Well, I don't. I mean, with due respect, my lord, I don't see my learned friend's point. I mean, if my client is to be called Miss Worthing when in fact she's Mrs. Pudney, you're prejudging the case.
Miss Pilbright, I am not in the habit of being accused of prejudging cases, nor of being instructed in my duties by counsel, especially one who has so recently been called to the bar. The petitioner will be known as Miss Worthing until you have proved to my satisfaction that she is in fact Mrs. Pudney.
As your lordship pleases. You are Gladys Rose Worthing, and you reside...
No, love. I'm Mrs. Pudney. You know that.
Yes, I know you're Mrs. Pudney, but his lordship has just ruled that you are Miss Worthing, Miss Worthing.
Miss Pilbright, if I thought for a moment that you looked upon my ruling as a subject of mirth...
Oh, no, my lord. I just wish to clarify the situation for my client. His lordship wishes you to be known as Miss Worthing.
But I'm not Miss Worthing.
Your lordship, my client seems to be a little confused.
I'm not in the least surprised. You're giving her no lead at all.
Lead, my lord?
Your client is there to answer questions. Kindly ask them, or we shall be here all day.
Miss Worthing, you were married to Sidney Pudney on September the 19th, 1944, at Hoxton Street Registry Office, weren't you?
Miss Pilbright, that is the most flagrant leading question I have ever heard. Kindly rephrase it.
Rephrase it, my lord.
Are you married, Miss Worthing?
Are you married, Miss Worthing?
Yes, love.
And what is the name of your husband?
And what is the name of your husband?
Sidney Arthur Pudney.
And will you tell me where and when you were married?
And will you tell me where and when you were married?
That is much better, Miss Pilbright. Are you now prepared to fly solo?
May it please your lordship. Miss Worthing, I need not remind you that you are under oath.
Oh, I'm telling the truth.
I stress this because, as all the records of this marriage have been destroyed, the court must rely entirely on your word.
Miss Pilbright, admittedly the records of the marriage may have been destroyed. But the parties to a marriage are presented with a document called a marriage certificate. Madam, did you have such a certificate?
My lord, yes.
Then would you kindly produce it and stop wasting the time of the court?
My lord, I haven't got it.
May I explain?
I am perfectly capable of examining witness unaided. Who has this certificate?
He has. My husband.
I see. So Box says that Cox has it, and Cox says that Box has it. A clear case of Box and Cox. How say you to that, Miss Pilbright?
How say I?
Yes, how say you, Miss Pilbright?
Laugh.
Very witty, my lord.
And how say you, Mr. Stevens?
Very apt, my lord. And if I may be permitted to add to your lordship's witticism, a proper box-up as well.
Oh, very good, Mr. Stevens, very good indeed. And how say you to that, Miss Pilbright?
Go on, he's telling you to laugh at my joke.
Very amusing.
Do you know what the boy lemon said to the girl lemon? My Sid's favourite. Give us a little squeeze.
We don't seem worried, I must say.
Oh, they'll never prove anything against Sid. Well, here's to the Old Bailey and all who's sailing her.
Do I take it, Mr. Stevens, that your client cannot or will not produce this certificate?
Well, my lord, since it is a figment of the petitioner's imagination, and since my client is not a magician, he cannot be expected to produce it like a rabbit from a hat.
And what have rabbits and hats to do with this case, Mr. Stevens?
With respect, my lord, may I suggest that my learned friend is talking through his hat? Or should I say wig?
Very apt indeed, Miss Pilbright. And how say you to that, Mr. Stevens?
Now you laugh.
Extremely droll, my lord.
Don't you think you ought to be getting back, dear? What, dear? Isn't it time you got back to your restitution?
How dare you? I've never been that sort of a girl.
I said a restitution.
Oh.
Miss Worthing, will you tell me in your own words about your meeting with Sidney Pudney at 19 Bellamy Street a few weeks ago?
I don't like to, really.
Well, it's for your own sake.
Well, I was ever so upset.
Yes, we know that, but what happened?
Well, it was awful, really.
Miss Worthing, what happened?
Oh, my lord, everything.
But I'm not asking for everything, only for something.
Well, it was Sid, really.
Mr. Pudney, what about him?
Well, the way he carried on.
How did he carry on?
Well, you know.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you to tell me. Will you please tell me, madam?
Oh, it was awful, really.
Your witness, Miss Pilbright.
Miss Worthing, what kind of reception did you get?
He didn't know me at all.
You mean he gave the impression that he didn't know you? Isn't that what you mean to say?
My lord, I must protest at my learned friend's distortion of the evidence. The petitioner said quite clearly that Mr. Pudney didn't know me at all, which is in fact the truth, because he had never seen her before in his life.
And I must protest, my lord. Mr. Pudney gave the impression that he did not know her because he did not wish to know her, though of course he did. And she knew he did, and he knew that she knew that he knew that he did. I trust you follow me, my lord.
Miss Pilbright, I am only interested in facts. Therefore, it is entirely irrelevant what you think he knew or she knew, or what he knew she knew, or indeed what he knew she knew he knew. I trust you follow me, Miss Pilbright.
Miss Worthing, will you tell me how this woman who was with Mr. Pudney behaved?
Oh, it upset me properly.
Yes, I know, but what happened?
Oh, it was awful, really.
Miss Pilbright, I am not going through all this again. Madam, you will either answer counsel's questions properly, or you will stand down. Now then.
My lord, what have I done wrong? What do you want me to say?
Your counsel has asked you to tell us something about this woman. Well, will you please tell us?
My lord, tell you what?
Good heavens, madam, the woman was there. She presumably said something, didn't she?
Well, yes, she did.
Then tell me.
I'd rather not.
Madam, you will either answer my questions at once or you'll be committed for contempt. Now then.
Stop drivelling, you old ragbag, and fiddle off.
Usher, fetch the tipstaff at once.
Oh, no, my lord. My client meant no disrespect. She was just telling you what the woman said. Weren't you, Miss Worthing?
Oh, I don't want to have any unpleasantness. I'd never have come here if I'd known it was going to be like this. I wish I'd never brought this case.
If those are your feelings, what are you doing wasting our time here?
My lord, I think my client's a little confused.
I can assure you that she's not the only one. Who is this woman to whom you're referring?
My lord, I think I can be of some assistance here. The lady is Miss Pearl Hoskins, Mr. Pudney's housekeeper. Now, Miss Worthing, I don't want you to be frightened of me. I'm not going to ask you any questions that you don't want to answer.
Oh, thank you.
You see, I formed the opinion that you're a nice person and perfectly truthful.
Oh, yes, it's always best to tell the truth.
Then when you told his lordship just now that you wished you had never brought this case, I take it that you meant it.
Well, yes.
Then why did you bring it, Miss Worthing?
Well, oh, dear.
Well, you know perfectly well why. Sidney Pudney is her husband. She wants him back. Don't you understand? She loves him.
She loves him? She allows her counsel to come into court, suggest that he is living an immoral life, that he's a man of no principle, and she loves him.
And why not? A woman loves a man for what he is, faults and all. Look at all the nice, decent women who fall in love with bumptious, conceited brutes.
You speak from experience.
Every woman's experience. If women had to believe that men were perfect before they married them, there'd never be any marriages.
My lord, has this attack on our sex anything to do with the case?
I was reflecting, Mr. Stevens, that in my experience, the more bitterly counsel attack each other in court, the closer friends they are outside it. The violence of your quarrel is such that one might almost imagine you and Miss Pilbright to be married. You are not married, Miss Pilbright, are you?
Certainly not.
Good heavens, my lord, no.
You both seem very definite about it. Nevertheless, this seems to be a case not so much of counsel of law as counsel of war. How say you, Miss Pilbright?
Very witty, my lord.
And how say you, Mr. Stevens?
Highly comical, my lord.
Then I can take it, Captain Lee, that faulty navigation was responsible for your ship removing the end of Brighton Pier.
My lord, my ship was stationary.
Then we must presume that Brighton Pier was on the move.
Last time I was on Brighton Pier, it was on the move.
Take the book in your right hand and repeat the words on the card.
I swear by I've got the evidence of this court to be the truth, the opposite, and the truth. The cock.
You are Sidney Pudney?
Bullseye, first shot.
In your vernacular, I take it that means yes.
That's right. Vernacular, as the monkey said when the high tide took him up the mountain. Silence in court!
All you are required to do is to answer yes or no. Now, do you know the petitioner, Miss Worthing?
No.
Have you ever known her?
No.
Oh, Sid, how could you?
Ah, take a running jump at yourself, as the monkey said to the performing flea.
Mr. Pudney, I am seriously tempted to send you to prison for contempt of court.
I'm sorry, Your Worship. I can't help it. It's me nerves. I get a bit agitato and out it comes spontinato. There, you see how I've gone again?
Well, try to be a little less spontinato, and I shall be very much obliged.
Mr. Pudney, did you or did you not ever marry a Miss Gladys Worthing, yes or no?
That's easy. No.
Thank you. I've finished with you.
Well, I haven't. Mr. Pudney, when Miss Worthing called at your house, what were your reactions?
Well, it was embarrassing like.
Naturally. It all happened in front of your housekeeper, I think you call her.
Yeah, I don't like the way you said that.
But she is your housekeeper, isn't she?
Yeah. Silence!
Then why, at that time of the day, was she in a dressing gown drinking cocktails?
It was a gin and tonic.
Rather unusual for a housekeeper, isn't it?
Yeah, well, she had the flu, see? That's why she had the dressing gown on, see?
And the gin and tonic?
Well, the doctor said she ought to have a tonic, see?
And did he order gin, too?
That was to take away the nasty taste of the tonic.
Then I take it that she's honest, hard-working and sober.
What are you getting at now?
Mr. Pudney, is your housekeeper in court today?
How should I know?
Perhaps you take a look round the court and tell us.
Well, I can't see her.
Silence in court!
Come on, we just got time to have one before they close. Bring your red bag to the top while I talk with you.
Usher, remove that woman.
We've got to hurry, sir. It may not be over yet.
Where are you taking me?
Well, it's the law court, Mr. Peebles.
The law courts, whatever for?
Come on, everyone, this one's on Sid. You look as if you could do with one.
Do with one what?
A drink. What did you think I meant, you naughty boy?
Miss Pilbright, just what are you trying to prove?
But it's obvious, my lord. You saw that woman. It's obvious his story's a pack of lies.
Are you calling me a liar?
Yes, I am.
No, you're not. Not in my court.
If your housekeeper was such a model of respectability and has been with you for 6 years, why haven't you married her? I'll tell you why. Because you are already married to Miss Worthing, and you'd rather not risk going to prison for 6 months for bigamy.
Miss Pilbright, I will not allow you to make these unfounded accusations.
Quite right. I'll have the law on you.
You'll do nothing of the kind.
But it's obvious, my lord. Any fool can see.
Miss Pilbright, sit down. I cannot hear you.
Sit down.
At once. And you, Mr. Pudney, may stand down. Unless, Mr. Stevens, you have any further questions to put? Mr. Stevens.
Oh, no, thank you, my lord.
I think you're wise. Miss Pilbright, throughout this hearing, I've made allowance for your youth and inexperience, and I've given you every chance of putting your case. But out of a mass... Miss Pilbright, have I your attention? Miss Pilbright!
Oh, yes, very interesting, my lord, but I wish to speak.
I am speaking. It is very unwise to bring a case of restitution when you have no evidence whatsoever of marriage.
But I have, my lord, conclusive evidence.
That's right, me old love. It'll put new life into you.
Hey! Now, what's up, man?
My lord, I really must protest at fresh evidence being introduced at this stage.
I agree, Mr. Stevens. I cannot admit Miss Pilbright's new evidence. Usher, what is this, a court of law or a go-kart track?
My lord, this is the witness that I wish to call, the registrar who performed the marriage.
Oh, well, we'd better hear what he has to say. Swear him in.
Where am I? What am I doing here?
Would it be asking too much, Usher, if you were to orientate the witness as to his whereabouts and the purpose of his visit here, also swear him in?
Mr. Peebles, you're called here as a witness.
A witness? Well, why wasn't I told? What are we waiting for? Oughtn't I to be sworn in? Or...
My lord, as Mr. Peebles is a very elderly gentleman and won't be able to take the stand, have I your permission to swear him in situ?
It is too much to hope that anything could be straightforward in this case.
Take the book in your right hand.
All right. Needn't tell me. I know how to take the oath, even if you don't. I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I give to this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
Come along. Anybody want to ask me any questions?
Mr. Peebles, I gather that you live at 18 Launceston Gate, London, SW10.
If you have the information, why ask me?
Mr. Peebles, do you remember...
Of course.
Of course what?
Of course I remember, my lord.
How can you remember when you don't know yet what we're asking you to remember?
I remember everything. My memory is most retentive.
Thank you, Mr. Peebles. In that case, you'll remember the end of the war.
Of course I remember the end of the war. Maffick Ignite wasn't the sort of thing you forget in a hurry. What a day. What a night.
Mr. Peebles, fascinating as your reminiscences are, there was a little matter of hostilities between 1939 and 1945. That is the war to which Counsel was referring.
Oh, that war.
Yes, Mr. Peebles. Now, I understand for many years you were registrar of births, marriages, and deaths.
Quite correct, my dear.
And that you're now retired.
I am.
But during the war, you were still a registrar.
I was.
Mr. Peebles, would you cast your mind back to September the 19th, 1944?
I have.
You have what?
Cast my mind back, my lord. That's what you asked me to do, isn't it?
Yes. Now, can you tell us what happened on that day?
Hoxton Street Registry Office was demolished by a bomb.
Excellent.
Excellent? Excellent? My dear, it's not excellent at all. It's a catastrophe.
Oh, no. I meant excellent that you remembered. Now, can you tell us what else happened on this catastrophic day?
Certainly. I remember every detail. I had breakfast at 7:30, tea, toast, and a lightly boiled egg. I have a partiality for lightly boiled eggs, my lord.
It may surprise you, Mr. Peebles, but the court is not interested in the gastronomic details of a meal eaten and, I trust, digested more than 17 years ago. Miss Pilbright, you will proceed beyond breakfast, and by that I do not mean the details of Mr. Peebles' luncheon menu.
Yes, my lord. Mr. Peebles, can you tell us what happened later on in the morning?
I was fortunate enough to catch a bus. A delightful little clippy, I think is the term, gave me a hand up. I remember her very clearly. A redhead. I've always had a great partiality for redheads, my lord.
Miss Pilbright, we now know Mr. Peebles' partialities from redheads to lightly boiled eggs. You will kindly come to the point if there is one.
Mr. Peebles, you say that you remember Hoxton Street Registry Office being destroyed by a bomb. Now, what happened before the bomb fell?
I don't know.
But you must know. You are Mr. Peebles, and you were the registrar at Hoxton Street, yes?
No.
No?
I was the registrar at Paddington Green. My brother Christopher was the registrar at Hoxton Street. It led to a lot of confusion when he was alive.
It's led to a lot of confusion now he's dead. So much for your witness, Miss Pilbright. You've got the wrong Mr. Peebles. Usher, the witness may stand down.
No, don't take me away. I haven't enjoyed myself so much since...
Mafficking night, Mr. Peebles?
Mafficking night, you remember that too?
I have listened very carefully and have come to the conclusion that the only question I have to try is whether these parties were ever married. Learned counsel for the petitioner, in a speech unequalled, I am sure, for passion and oratorical skill, has urged me to give judgment from my heart. But I am not here to indulge the whims and fancies of my human heart, but to judge this case coldly, dispassionately, and according to the law. And the law, Miss Pilbright, is not founded on sentimental and, if I may say so, typically feminine notions of right and wrong. While you have produced no factual evidence whatsoever, I find it hard to believe that Miss Worthing is entirely unknown to Mr. Pudney, although he denies it on oath in the witness box. I have formed the opinion that Miss Worthing and Mr. Pudney did enjoy some sort of relationship, but I can find no proof of marriage, and on that fact alone I find for the respondent.
What does that mean?
I'm afraid you've lost, Mrs. Putney.
My lord, I cannot see how you reach this judgment. In one breath, you accept the truth of my client's testimony, and in the next, you decide against her.
Sit down, for God's sake, he'll murder you.
Young woman, judgment has been given. That's all there is to be said.
No, it isn't. You clearly contradicted yourself. You accept that Mr. Pudney knows Miss Worthing, but just because a piece of paper is missing, you won't accept that there was ever any marriage. This woman came here today to tell the truth, to get a fair hearing. And what did she get? A judgment against her on a point of law. Well, that just isn't justice.
Miss Pilbright, that is the law.
Well, then the law's an ass.
Miss Pilbright, you have shown by your mismanagement of your case here today that you have neither knowledge of nor respect for the law. I suggest that before you have the temerity to accept another brief, you should acquaint yourself with how to conduct yourself in court. Her Majesty's courts of law are not interested in the petulant outbursts of an hysterical schoolgirl.
My lord, I protest most strongly at your treatment of Miss Pilbright. It is counsel's duty to use every means within her power to present her client's case to the court. And if it is part of your lordship's duty to humiliate counsel in front of her client, then I can only repeat what Miss Pilbright said. The law is an ass.
Will the court be seated? I have something to say. Miss Pilbright, Mr. Stevens, stand up. There are occasions when counsel conduct themselves in a manner wholly incompatible with their professional status. This is such an occasion. It is not for me to demean myself by further reprimanding you. The disciplining of junior counsel is the responsibility of their Inn of Court. I shall be reporting you both for your inexcusable and unpardonable behavior, with a strong recommendation that you are both unfitted for your position at the bar.
Don't let it get you down. You did a splendid job. We nearly won.
Oh, Mrs. Putney, I am sorry.
Never mind, dear. You were lovely.
I'm afraid I made a bit of a fool of myself.
Oh, no, love, no. It was that horrid old judge. What a terror. But Mr. Stevens was nice, taking your side like that.
Mrs. Putney, we mustn't give up hope.
I'm Miss Worthing now, aren't I?
Oh, no, we can appeal.
Eh? Oh, no. I don't want any more. I couldn't go through that again.
Oh, but Mrs. Putney...
No, it's all over and done with. And I'm very grateful to you. Don't worry about me. I'll be all right. You've been very kind. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks very much.
Peter, we must appeal.
Well, it's pretty expensive, and I don't think you'd have a hope. Besides, you've got something else to worry about.
To which chambers do those two belong?
Both in the same, sir. Sir John Pilbright. Miss Pilbright is his niece.
Never in the course of my career as a judge have I been talked to like that.
No, my lord, it was quite shocking. But then they're both inexperienced. It was Miss Pilbright's first case.
And I shall see to it that it's her last. And that other fellow.
It had nothing to do with her personally, Hubert. I'd have done the same thing for anyone. That bearded old buzzard got me down. I hope I never appear in front of him again.
You won't. You're going to be disbarred, remember?
Oh, yes.
It serves you jolly well right for taking advantage of an old friend when he's got a hangover.
Well, I'm going to go and lay the grounds for a hangover myself right now, Hubert, and you can take advantage of me.
Oh, there you are, Cock. Have a cigar.
No, thank you.
Oh, now, cheer up. We won, didn't we? Even if you did make a proper Charlie of yourself. Standing up there, slanging the beak, he was. Mind you, I knew what was biting you. Cherche la femme, as the froggy said. Is there a nice bit of skirt under that wig and gown of hers, eh?
If you'll excuse me, Mr. Putney, I'm rather busy.
All right, all right. See you in the dock sometime, as the monkey said to the tramp steamer. I'm shy, Mary Ellen, I'm shy. Well, if it isn't old Glad in person.
Oh, Sid, how could you? Standing up there in court and saying you didn't know me.
I got away with it, didn't I? Fancy bringing that case. You hadn't got a leg to stand on.
I had right on my side.
You may have right on your side, but the old beak ruled for once and for all, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer. You're not my flipping wife and never have been.
He said you are naughty. Living with that woman and not married to her.
Well, how could I marry her, eh? How could I marry her? Considering I got this in my pocket.
My marriage lines.
That's right, Oxton Place Registry Office, Stepney. No, I just kept this in case you might have come into some money. Then I needed that to prove that you was my ever-loving and entitled to me share. Oh, now, Glad, no hard feelings, as the monkey said to the... Ah, what's the use? You never laughed at my jokes. We'd never have made a go of it. Cheer up, Glad. Go back up north and forget all about me. Here, look, I've been having a bit of luck lately, which is more than you look as if you've been having. You know, take that and fix yourself up. Go on, take it, go on. Get rid of the old rags for a start. Get a bit of lipstick. You used to be quite good looking once. You might get another husband. Tell you what, you get yourself another husband, I'll come along and give you away myself. How's that, all right? Arrivederci, as the monkey nearly said. Well, that's that, isn't it? Here we go.
Keep the change.
Yeah, mind your back, Cock. Oh, come to the fancy dress ball, have you? Wrong entrance.
No, very important business here with the lady, excuse me.
That's what they all say when they slip in this way.
Yes.
Well, what do you think I ought to do about it then?
Well, from the facts you've given me, I'd sue for breach of promise.
But it's in Japan.
Well, it seems that you've made your bed and someone else is lying in it.
Well, I only said yes to him to stop making beds for a bit.
I'm the under-manager, sir. Are you in difficulty?
Yes, I'm looking for a woman.
Oh.
Perhaps you could help me.
Oh, this is a most unusual request, sir, but yes, I do happen to know of an address near
No,
Piccadilly.
no. This woman is staying here.
Staying here, sir? Oh, surely there must be some mistake.
No, there isn't. I followed her in. She's a Mrs. Pudney. Perhaps you'd know her as Miss Worthing.
I can assure you, sir, whatever name the lady happens to be operating under, I do not know her, nor do I wish to. Over and above the call of my duties as an under-manager, I have no relations with the guest whatsoever. No, what I mean is...
I know what you mean. Now, you listen to me. My name is Stevens, and I'm a barrister. And strange as it may appear to you, all this is in the course of a most important job.
Oh, come, sir. Do you really expect me to believe that as you sneak from keyhole to keyhole, seeking to give vent to your lust, you are serving the cause of British justice?
I don't care what you believe. It happens to be the truth.
Well, if that's the truth, I'm the Queen of Sheba.
Neither do I give a damn what you do in your off-duty hours.
I think you'd better come along with me, sir. This is
I have no
quite
intention
far
of going...
enough. How dare you stand there?
What's going on?
Oh, Mrs. Hanley, I'm so sorry, but this person...
Hello. What are you doing here?
That, Mrs. Hanley, is a leading question.
Oh. You better come in, love, and give me a lead. Well, how nice of you, Mr. Stevens, coming to see me, being on Sid's side. Oh, would you like a spot of champagne?
Thank you, I would.
Good. Help yourself, and pour me some. And, what can I do for you?
Well, you see, I saw you and Mr. Pudney together just now. He was burning something.
Oh, yes, that. Our marriage certificate, that was.
So you are married to him?
Oh, no, I'm not, love. The judge said so. You asked him to.
Well, a barrister has to put his client's case.
Yes, of course he has. And you did it very nicely. I'm very grateful to you.
But, you brought a case for restitution of conjugal rights.
Yes, love. And I lost it.
Didn't you want your husband back?
You've seen it. Would you?
Well, why did you bring it then?
Mr. Stevens, you are slow. It was the only way to be sure of getting rid of him forever. To bring the case and lose it. See?
You mean you've been deceiving all of us?
I'm afraid so.
Appeals cost money, and she hasn't got any. In fact, I think you'll be lucky if you see your fees for today.
Well, I don't mind. It's obvious she hasn't got any money, poor thing. That's why something must be done for her.
You haven't a chance with an appeal, Francis.
I'll try anything I can to see that she gets what she deserves.
Allow me.
Oh, Ta.
Well, if Sid could only see you now.
He'd be after me like a dog after a rabbit.
Not quite rabid.
No, it is nice, isn't it? Wilf says everyone's wearing ranch mink this year. I'd better have wild.
Wilf?
Mr. Hanley. My husband. I wouldn't take presents from anybody else.
So, you are married?
Oh, yes. Have been for years. Wilf's done quite nicely.
Very nicely by the look of things.
They're making him mayor this year, so I thought I'd better tidy this little matter up. Don't want any nasty people finding out about Sid, you know.
But Mrs. Pudney, Mrs. Hanley, don't you realize you've committed bigamy?
You keep forgetting, love. Sid and me weren't ever married. The judge said so today.
All right, we'll appeal if you're set on it.
I am, if it's the last thing I do.
Well, you may not even have time for that. The judge is gunning for you, remember?
But this is more important.
Well, I'll have to get into touch with Mrs. Pudney to see if she'll agree.
Well, of course she'll agree. What other hope is there in life for her? Just think. No home, no husband, no children.
Len, Ted, Baz, and little Ron. Short for Ronald, you know.
Yes, I guessed. That's the only thing I have guessed in the last 10 minutes. These are all yours?
Mine and Wilf's. Our union's been blessed, you see.
Yes, indeed. Forgive me, Mrs. Hanley, but these children, when they were born, I mean, you were still legally married to Sid. Surely they must be,
Oh, yes. Still thanks to you and Miss Pilbright and that nice old judge. They'll never know it, will they? Poor little bastards.
Hello? Sir John. I'll put him through. Hello, John. Yes, I was in court, a very lively scene. Yes, all right. I'll be over in Oh, half an hour.
And I must be off. Oh, when you see that Miss Pilbright, you'll stop her thinking any more about an appeal or anything like that, won't you?
What, tell her that she's been in court representing a bigamist with a mink coat and 4 little bouncing boys? Not me.
Oh, very well. Then I'll tell her.
Oh, I've got enough on my hands. I could be disbarred, thanks to you.
Oh, don't talk so soft, love. It was nothing to do with me. It was her. When I saw the way you two went at each other, ooh, I could see the way the wind blew. And when you stood up to that judge, well, when a man stands up for a girl like that, it's as plain as the nose on your face. You're in love with her.
I most certainly am not.
Now, naughty perjury.
Well, I'd better be going.
Oh, won't you stay and see the kids? They're coming here to meet me.
No, thank you. Goodbye, Mrs. Hanley. If I ever need any legal advice, I'll come to you.
Playing football in the kitchen, Mrs. Handley. Yes, and he's ruined the chef's raspberry souffle.
Well, he knows what's good, don't you, son?
Didn't you pull nice?
Hello?
Hello. Any sound from old Bloodhound yet?
No.
Well, wait for it. Won't be long now.
You know, you needn't have joined in like that.
No, I suppose not.
Why did you?
Well, shan't be needing that anymore. Care to join me? There's plenty of room.
No, I'm holding on to mine for a bit longer.
Why, you got another brief?
No, we're going to appeal.
Appeal? In the Barrie case?
You've only won the first round, you know.
It's supposed to be rather unwise to appeal without further evidence.
Oh, we shall get it.
How?
I'm going up north. There must be some neighbors who can support her claim.
But can she afford it?
Well, obviously she can't. But I'm hoping to whip up some local sympathy.
How?
Her MP to start with. Then there's a local council. You know, I might even get the mayor interested.
The mayor?
Why not? Peter Sutler's going to contact Mrs. Pudney first thing in the morning.
I'd stop him.
Why?
Because Mrs. Pudney is married to the mayor.
What?
I didn't want to have to tell you this, Francis, because I knew it would upset you. Mrs. Pudney, alias Miss Worthing, is in fact Mrs. Hanley. She has a mink coat, a collection of rocks that would make your eyes stand out on stalks, and 4 little bouncing boys straight out of a Giles cartoon.
What are you trying to do?
I've seen it, Francis, I'm telling you. She only brought this case to lose it, to be sure of getting rid of Sid for good. She's a bigamist and a near perjurer.
But that's ridiculous.
Oh, and one other thing. She told me to tell you not to get any silly ideas about an appeal.
I see. You don't want an appeal because you won the case, and you're afraid an appeal may go against you.
Oh, don't be such a dope. I don't care about the case. I just don't want to see you making a fool of yourself. She's made a big enough fool of you already.
I don't believe a word you say. You'll be telling me next that she drives around in a chauffeur-driven Rolls-Royce with initials on the door.
Just leave that for Miss Pilbright, will you, Harry?
Yes, madam.
Thank you.
Can I help you?
I have a note from Miss Pilbright, sir.
Oh, I'll take it. I'm going in.
Thank you very much, sir. Where to, madam? I'll have to stop some petrol.
Oh, Mary, the lads want to see their dad, bless them.
All right, then. If you don't believe me, go up north and see for yourself.
Oh, hello. I like that bit about humiliating counsel. Good meaty stuff. Francis, I think you ought to know your uncle's asked me to see him.
Is he upset?
I shouldn't think he's been so upset since he was embraced in open court by one of his clients. A welterweight boxer, if I remember. This note is for you.
Oh, thank you.
I took it from a chauffeur outside.
A chauffeur?
Driving a thumping great Rolls.
Were there initials on the door, Mr. Sutcliffe?
Yes.
Who is inside?
A woman, middle-aged, wearing a fur coat.
What kind?
Well, not a rabbit. Mink, I should say.
Now, would you think very carefully before you answer, sir? Was there anybody else inside?
Yes, 4 little bastards eating ice cream.
You're quite sure?
Well, I'm sure they were eating ice cream, whether they were...
Yes, they are. Could you describe this woman?
Oh, not possibly. Our diamonds were flashing in my eyes too much. What is this?
Oh, I'm sorry, Peter, but can we forget about the appeal?
Oh, but you...
As far as I'm concerned, the Putney case is closed.
Sir John is quite ready for you, Mr. Sutcliffe.
All right, thank you.
Now, don't take it too hard. You couldn't have known.
Oh, I did so want to see justice done.
Yes, I know. Still, in a way, it has been, hasn't it? Now, what about a nice sewage brief to take your mind off things?
No, thank you.
Oh, it's a good one. Oozing over half the county.
No, thank you.
Its sprinklers are bunged up right to the eyebrows.
No, thank you.
Monstrous behavior.
Disgraceful, of course, but there's no need to disbar them, surely, Harry?
Well, I know she's your niece. And your goddaughter, Sutcliffe, and precious likely you seem to have taken your duties, if I may say so. She practically called me an ass in my own court.
I can't think what came over them. Can you, Peter?
Well, I think she feels very strongly about the case, and he feels very strongly about her. Very attracted. Like a wasp round a jam pot.
Yes, we'll leave wasps out of this. What about her?
Well, I'd say if she wore a collar, she'd be hot under it.
I don't care whether they both bed down in the Old Bailey, but I will not have them behaving like that in my court. And I demand they be disciplined.
Oh, well, we'll have them up here and see what they've got to say.
And so you see, my lord, Mrs. Pudney, Mrs. Hanley as she is now, completely misled Miss Pilbright and me. And if I may say so, my lord, with all due respect, your lordship as well. And as your lordship, and here again I speak with respect, obligingly gave judgment against her, she has successfully achieved a gross miscarriage of justice.
It would seem like it, eh, Harry?
Now, should Miss Pilbright and I have to appear in front of our benches for disciplinary action, as your lordship has most understandably suggested, for our inexcusable bad manners, for which we apologize most profoundly, my lord, do we not, Miss Pilbright?
Oh, yes, yes, we do.
Well, then, my lord, I think it inevitable that Miss Pilbright and I would be forced to explain certain facets of the Pudney case to them. And I rather doubt, my lord, speaking again with respect, if these facets, containing as they do certain elements of the ridiculous, would remain confidential.
Confidential? They'd be all round the bar in no time.
You are suggesting, and surprisingly ably for you, Mr. Stevens, that there has been a miscarriage of justice in my court. But there are times when a judge is well aware that he is not in full possession of the facts, because counsel is not in full possession of them either. It may surprise you, but at moments like these, he uses his common sense. He asks himself, would this little woman really want to be married to a scoundrel like Sidney Pudney? Would she, Stevens?
Good Lord, no, sir.
And now, Miss Pilbright, when a judge hears a case brought without one vestige of evidence, he asks himself, why bring a case which is obviously going to be lost? And the answer to that, Miss Pilbright, is that the plaintiff wishes to lose the case. When I gave judgment against Mrs. Pudney, I was fully aware that I was doing so to her benefit, which you so greatly had at heart, Miss Pilbright. I trust you follow me.
Yes, yes, my lord.
Good. Then you may both of you realize the law is not quite such an ass as you thought.
Quick thinking, Harry.
I understand also, Stevens, that this would be a peculiarly disagreeable time for you to be disbarred, as you're contemplating matrimony with your learned friend. If this be the case, I might be disposed to be a little more lenient.
Well, my lord, I hadn't got that...
You are contemplating marriage with learned counsel, are you not?
With all due respect, my lord, that is a leading question.
It was meant to be.
Yes.
Just a moment. I don't know that I approve of this. These are my chambers. This is my niece, and this is one of my juniors, whom I happen to know hasn't got a bob except what he digs up out of sewers.
In that case, it's time you recognized talent and gave him something more substantial to work on. Anybody who can stand up to a judge like he did today deserves to be taken out of sewers and stuck on top of the heap, as it were.
For the petrol, Harry.
Thank you, madam.
Yeah, that's a nice bit of junk, as the monkey said to the Chinese sailor.
Oh, Sid, look at that coat. Why don't you get me one like that?
Whoever's inside that must have won the sweepstake.
I wish you'd win something.
Ah, shut up. I'm doing all right. Gladys?
Hello, Sid.
Is this like yours?
Aye, that's right.
What, all of it?
That's right, Sid.
I don't know what to say.
Don't you? Well, why don't you try asking that monkey of yours? All right, Harry. Home.